Hello and welcome to another video. Today we're going to discuss resources for beginner and intermediate developers. These are maybe books, videos, online resources like LeetCode, HackerRank that can help you to improve your programming and problem solving skills. So I'm going to assume, in the first part, I'm going to assume that I'm talking to someone who's completely new to programming and really wants a roadmap to how they can get to being an advanced developer. I myself am not an advanced developer. I'm just someone who has used some of these resources to upscale to upskill myself and become better. But I believe if you continually strive to improve and be better than you are yesterday, you'll finally get to be that um, rockstar developer or something. Okay, so I'm going to first use Go as a case study for someone who's completely new and wants to learn programming from the fundamentals. So the how I started was let me check. Go programming books. There's a particular book that I used while I was starting off. It was simple to understand. It explained a small concept like probably string in about a couple of paragraphs, but not too much information that you'll get bored, but just enough for you to understand and uh, yeah, like it's bite-sized learning. And the book is actually 100 and something pages, which is good because books these days go up to 400 and yeah, past that. Um, it's this one. It's called Programming in Go. Let's try that. Go PDF, download or something. Mm. What was the book called? Let me check. Sorry. Yeah, this is the book. Let's try here. An Introduction to Programming in Go. Here it is. So this is the book. It has 14 chapters, and if you check maybe for variables, um, it's really simple to understand and not okay. At first, you might find it a bit hard because it's maybe your first time programming, but when you go through it, it's really a simple book that you can even recommend to someone who is maybe in high school, and yeah, and they'll still get it. You can even just read the book without even coding, but it's recommended you code. But if you just read the book, you'll be able to know what's going on. It's really nice. Okay, and when I was done with that book, I went to another advanced book called yeah, this one by Brian Kenningham. This book was a bit advanced, but it really uh, helped me with the mathematics involved in making certain programs work using packages. A bit complex from what I've been using before, like FMT and Printline. In this one, you're using packages. You're learning about big endian and that sort of stuff, which is really helpful as a computer scientist to know, because yeah, most of the advanced programming you'll be working on will be algorithms, and that's what you're going to majorly use. So this book is, I'd recommend you go to this book after you're done with the book on training wheels. And it's actually let me check. Yeah, it what you see is what you get. Like it gets your feet wet, but the next book will challenge you to uh, it will challenge you basically. And it is recommended that for every chapter, assuming I'm on the chapter of variables, there's going to be sample problems at the end of every chapter. So I'd recommend when you're doing that book, when you're doing that book for training wheels, you should go through each and every uh, quiz that you are given and try to solve them yourself. And if you hit a snag or you are unable to go back to the book, to the chapter, and read up on maybe saying for this problem is what's the difference between a var and a const. You should go back, read up what a var is, read up what a const is, and try to uh, make differentiate between the two. It's somewhat boring to do all this, but trust me, uh, it does make a difference. Next, I'll say what helped me was videos. There's this guy, he goes by the name it goes to 11. Yeah, I think that's the name. He was a lecturer, but what he did was that he always publishes uh, YouTube videos. So they got me started. As you can see, the last update was maybe a couple of years ago, so they may be still, but Go is still backwards compatible. It has the compatibility guarantee. So most of these are still usable. Not really most, but everything is still usable. You can learn about arrays, maps, slices. But I'd recommend, instead of checking this, you should go and he has a linked YouTube channel. You can go there, check on that, and it will really help you if you struggle with books. This can be something that will appeal to you. Yeah. Okay, so I think that part is over with, the part about Go, talking about Go. And let's move on to maybe Rust and Zig. I'll assume that for beginner resource, the books and videos will be enough. But if you really want to challenge yourself, this next part will be important. So I wanted to do some bit of blockchain, and I realized that the space is usually has a lot of emphasis on Rust, has a lot of Rust projects. So I decided to, I know Go does have some projects for blockchain, like Cosmos SDK, but I really wanted to go into that in Ethereum space, Polkadot and Near blockchain spaces. So I challenged myself to learn Rust. So the resource that mostly appealed to me was, I didn't like books, first of all, but books are really are a really good resource, and I don't like, personally, I don't like books, but I'd prefer to use books than videos. So but I like to solve challenges. So I found this resource. It's called Exorcism. What happens is you create an account, go into the learn section, select a language. Maybe you want to learn Elm, Haskell, or maybe TypeScript. Let's say for our case it's Rust. We go to Rust, then we go to practice, and you can choose. There's always the uh, hello world example for every language that should get you started with setting up the let me check setting up the exorcism CLI. Okay, let me select a new something like this maybe. Then I go to guide to solving exercise locally. You should install the exorcism CLI, and using the CLI you can download an exercise, then you submit it. When you submit, there's a runner for each exercise. Yeah, there's a runner that runs the test code, and it checks whether the test's passed. Let's say, let me go back. Exercises. Let me check one that is in progress. So assuming I was actually doing this exercise, and I have published 3 iterations. The first one I think failed. This one failed. That was 3 years ago. This one also failed. I think this one passed or is yet to pass. I can't remember. Anywho, the reason why I know that this resource is good is because there's always, you can always do the exercises in two, say that 2 or 3 ways. You can do it individually. You can request for a mentor. That's someone who, for each iteration, tells you where you can improve. Think of it as a code review, but for your exercises, just you being told what you can do better about that exercise. If I remember correctly, I think this is where I got code review. Yeah, I got a code review. Can't remember what he wrote. Yeah, here it is. So essentially, this solution requires me to use macros, and also there's some mathematics involved for calculating the duration of years. I think it was Earth years or something. So I submitted an iteration, the first iteration that passed, and that was good. I was told another approach to consider is the use of a macro to reduce the boilerplate. Then, yeah, this commentary was really helpful for me to iterate on my solution and really learn bits of Rust that I hadn't used before. Coming from Go, I had not used traits. I had not really traits. I hadn't used macros, and the idea of using a macro was not really the idea, but the how do I call it? The use of the macro opened my mind a bit to how to possibly solve future solutions using macros as something that should be in your toolkit. So this was really good for me, and yeah, I think this resource, that's what makes this resource interesting, is because you have that back and forth between you and someone who you're supposed to mentor. You can also use this resource to mentor someone specifically. Like, for example, if I have a friend who wants to learn Go, I can link myself as their mentor. They can do the exercises. When they submit, I'll come along, I'll receive a notification that they have submitted a solution to an exercise. I can go over and provide my own commentary and help them improve on that specific solution. So yeah, so that's it for exorcism. The next one I think that I discovered recently is called Code Crafters. If you go to the landing page, um, uh, Code Crafters is essentially a paid. It's a paid. Uh, it's a paid. It's a paid resource um, that gives you exercises that build the probably not really. I wouldn't say dummy, but help you create your own rendition of a Redis engine, BitTorrent, DNS server, all that. If you look at the one that I did, I haven't yet completed it, but what I was working on was build your own Redis. Okay, let me resume track. Okay. Let me go to build your own Redis. So it's under paid. It's under paywall, so you have to pay for these resources. But essentially, what you do create is fulfilling, and it really challenges you to think about requirements provided and why certain parts of the code doesn't work, and maybe you did an oversight on previous steps, and something needs to be hardened and engineered differently to work the same way, but because there is new functionality to add on top of it, it needs to be flexible enough to allow for that. So that's what these build your own exercises make you do, which is really great. So for each exercise, there are stages. The first one, maybe it's connect to a port, respond to a ping, blah blah blah. Like, it goes on until it builds upon what was previously done. It's not, I won't say it's easy, and I won't say it's hard, but it is worthwhile. It's worthwhile because uh, I find that learning a language is really happens when you are solving a problem. Like, I do remember using macros for that. It was for that exorcism code, which is well over 3 years ago. But the fact that you can remember it because you used it on solving something, that I think that's better than actually reading or watching a video, because you have hands-on experience on that particular thing you're doing. And Code Crafters, what they did with the build your owns is actually great. So that's one thing to check up on. Yeah, so that's it. Lastly, I'll say that sometimes what works for me and what works for others might not be the solution that would work for you, but it's important to know that there are many ways to learn a new language and improve upon maybe what you've learned before. Like, for example, I know a bit of Go, and what I do know about Go still has some knowledge deficit in some places that I haven't gone deeper into. But that's, like, personally, I don't think on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll say 1 is a beginner and 10 is someone who's actively contributing to the Go standard library. I will not say I'm a 10, but I'm somewhere in between, maybe a 6 or a 7. I think that's good, but you can be great. We can always be better than we were yesterday. Okay, the last resource I think will be very helpful will be, let's say, code brain. Yeah. The next resource that I think is really good is reading on the standard library implementations of maybe functions, structs, or anything. Say for this program, I'm just doing uh, brain brain F interpreter. But if I look at the FS, which is the file system, what I've done is uh, um, I've held the command button and I'm using my mouse to navigate towards the implementation of the FS crate. Is it a crate or module? Module, yes. So if I navigate to the FS module, which is the file system module, I can read up on it. I can see there's this documentation, which is great. But what I'm interested in is how code is maybe written differently from how I've written it. Um, okay, so everything here seems somewhat vanilla, but if you look at this bit of code, you'll see there is a function within another function. This is not similar to the way we can do let s is equals to a function that just does maybe print line hello world or something. Yeah. Like this is fundamentally different from this, which is it's still a function. It's still the normal function, but it's scoped under this read function. This other one is implements a trait, which is a bit different. I'm not really great with function types. Rust. Yeah, this is a function pointer, and this is a function pointer. Yeah, like the way this function is written, maybe it's something that you might have not seen before, and instead of using a closure, you might use this to be this, which is a function pointer, which might, in your case, maybe be clean, or maybe you want I don't know the reason why you might use the function pointer over the what's the other one called, over the this function which implements a trait. I know they all implement a trait, but what I'm really saying is uh, do, looking at examples like this helps you infer how to um, write code or think differently in terms of maybe for our case it's function, maybe for your case might be something else. If you still read down, if you still continue reading, you might find this pattern repeats itself, and maybe there's a reason why it does, maybe there's not, maybe it's just someone who did it out of maybe they like this style, or I don't know. But when you continue reading the standard library code, you do get the sense that you yourself can actually write that code and you can contribute towards uh, the the language you're using, towards its standard library, or towards its what do I say? You can actually contribute towards that um, towards that code base, which is great. But also you do get to have new programming ideas, which you wouldn't have learned if you just stuck to if you just stuck to your own and write your own code without reading other people's code. Personally, I think I read more code than I write. I think I read a lot of Go standard library code and Rust standard library code, which sometimes informs on what I write maybe tomorrow on another project. But I think it's the standard library is also a good resource for uh, good code or maybe good conventions for that language, which opens up your mind to thinking differently from how you previously reasoned about a problem. Yeah, I think for me that's all the resources I could think of, and I hope you learned something. I hope you do get to check those resources that I mentioned. But I'd say above all, I'd say Exorcism was my best resource to date, and yeah, you guys should try it. Okay, bye and see you in another video. Thanks.